Fine. The hypervisor. Hypervisor are nothing but the applications, okay, that allows us to create the virtualization concepts, or which will allow us to implement the virtualization concepts. Okay, not only the creating the virtual operating systems, or it could be any type of virtual resources we can create using the hypervisor. And most of the hypervisors in the current market allows us to create the para-virtualization techniques, or the resources which belong to the type of para-virtualization, which are far better than what a full virtualization allows us. The next concept is intranet and the cloud. As you know about what a intranet means, have you heard it? Definitely you have heard about intranet. Can anyone tell me what could be the intranet? Any examples?
A private network.
A private network. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? Yeah, a network to if suppose a network can be what network means what a collection of computers, a group of computers which are connected each other. Connected each other means we can share the data, or we can communicate between those two computing devices, right? Now intranet means to access those networks or the resources in that particular networks, we do not require a kind of an internet, right? Without connecting to the internet, we can connect, or we can communicate with the resources of that particular network. We can call it to be an intranet. The best example is our computing lab. Our BCL lab is an intranet, right? If even though if we don't have an internet connectivity, if suppose if one particular data is there located on one particular machine, we can access it from another machine, because all the systems are connected together, okay, to make to form it to be a type of an network called as an intranet. And intranets are a private with respect to that particular network itself, right? So suppose if someone wants to establish a cloud architecture in the intranet, then it becomes little easy, right? Because the little easy in the sense you should only access within that particular intranet itself. You can't access anywhere else. If you want to get access to the anywhere else, then we need to set up something called as an virtual private networks, and then through that particular virtual private network, then access the intranet of the cloud. Okay. Now, this is something, the diagram which has been given in your textbook. Everything remains same. Earlier, what you have seen, the only difference is, can you point out the difference here, which you have seen with respect to the normal cloud conventions with respect to internet? The phrase, the word which is written in this particular cloud, here it is just intranet. Earlier, it was an internet. Right? It this particular diagram depicts the working of a particular cloud architecture within an intranet. Okay, now how it works is that we just need two things here. One is the servers, okay, and second is the clients, which are of the type of thin clients, right? So a thin client and a server are required. What server will do? Server will host all the applications required, okay, to be accessed within this particular intranet, right? And then what client will do is that client will get connected to the server, right? Client will get connected to the server through the intranet itself, and will perform all the computational work. Okay, everything computation, all the computation data storing will happen only on the server side. Only the operational part, that is accessing the applications, can be performed through the thin clients. This is a simple architecture of a intranet and a cloud. Okay, this type of a architecture really doesn't exist nowadays. Exact this architecture doesn't exist. How it is existing nowadays is the thin clients are replaced with the thick clients most of the cases, okay? And with this particular intranet, then another outer layer is being added to this particular intranet layer. Another outer layer is being added called as to be a VPN network. virtual private network is being added, and then the internet is used to access the VPN. Once they get access to the VPN, the internally everything is an intranet. So it's a combination of the internet and an intranet can be made together to perform these activities. So these type of architectures are really seen in the big organizations, big IT organizations like Infosys, Wipro, TCS. Most of these uh, corporations, the organizations do have their own intranets, and they had hosted their own cloud architecture, and those services can be accessed by their own employees by making the intranets over there. Okay, a very small topic on the intranets and cloud. If even question appears, maximum, I don't expect it to be a 5 marks of a question. Even if it exists, these points and that particular diagram will give you a 5 marks. So only two components to remember in the intranets and the cloud. The first one is the server and the thin clients. Okay, these concepts, whatever is being given in these notes or the PPTs, are taken from your textbook, which was written just a decade ago, right? So there is an advancement in the technology, but which that we are not studying in the concepts here. Okay, is that clear, students? The intranet and the cloud. Okay. Moving to the next thing, that is the advantages of cloud computing. Okay, now let me be clear here. Okay, these 15 points, all these 15 points are not given in your syllabus, but I have taken all these, but I have just collected all these 15 points so that even if you remember minimum 5, that will help you to get marks in the exam. Okay, now what we will do is that for each of these 15 points, we are going to discuss. I'm not going to elaborate and explain to you. We are going to discuss these particular points. Okay, one by one, let us look into it. Okay. The first one, lower cost computers for users. What actually we mean by this particular point? Can anyone elaborate? Ajay, what do you think of this one? Lower cost computers with respect to the users?
Low cost computers. So for users, like they need not go for the hard disk and all for storing the information. They can directly store the information on the cloud, so that will make an cost effective advantage.
Cost effective advantage. Yes, very good. Fine. Anyone else? Anyone else want to add upon any points here? Lower cost for computers, right?
Sir, maintenance will be done by the server only, so it may also effective in lower cost, sir.
Yeah. Yes, that is another advantage, you can say. The maintenance, whatever the point you talked about, it is another advantage. But here, this particular point is only focusing upon the cost of the computers. As you know, suppose if you want to set up a particular server and all, for a user end, we no need to set up those particular hardwares or the computers which host the or which stores the servers and all. That will be taken care by the cloud computing, that hosting company itself or the service provider, so that the cost with respect to the users, it will be reduced, right? Then the next point, improved performance. So improved performance, how does the performance will get increased if we use cloud computing architecture? How it is possible?
So we can access our data from anywhere, and the manage, and it is managed by whoever is hosting the service.
Yes. So yeah, partially it is correct. Let me try to add upon a couple of more points. Will anyone try to add upon a few more points here? Improved performance. Now, think that you are trying to do some computational works. You are trying to you are writing a particular software, okay, and that particular software requires say 32 GB of RAM, but you do not have those particular configuration with you. but still you want to perform those particular things. You want to compute so much of a big data, right? So in that case, even if you don't have, you will improve your performances by gaining or by renting or taking the rent of the services from the cloud, which will allow you to access more RAM or set up a system, virtualized system by the host, and that particular host will be having a 32 GB of a RAM system or a more CPU cycles. Okay, by accessing those things, what will happen? Our performance here means it could be the individual performance, the computational performance, or the system performance will get drastically increased if we make use of the cloud computing architecture, right? The next one, lower IT infrastructure cost, right? So one of you said earlier, lower IT infrastructure cost. That means what? If I'm not making use of an in-house infrastructure, since I'm not making use of in-house infrastructure, in-house means like I don't have hardwares with me, I don't have a networking part with me, right? Everything is being, the IT infrastructure is being handled by the cloud computing service provider themselves. So the managing of those IT infrastructure, I no need not to pay for that. That will be taken care by the service provider themselves. So what it will give? It will give an advantage to the users, the end users, or it could be a individual person, or it could be a organization as well. So the cost for maintaining those particular infrastructure will be reduced, right? Then the fourth one, fewer maintenance issues. Can anyone explain this one? It is very straightforward. Try someone else who have not yet explained any points. Can anyone try? Indrabhushan, can you try? Anyone else? Natasha?
So can I try?
Yeah, go ahead, Chetan.
As we are not using any hard physical components to store data,
Mhm.
so maybe the maintenance will be lesser than we maintain the hardwares, and here the maintenance will be very less because we are not using any physical entity for storing the data. So maybe that
Yes,
way.
yes, correct. So to add upon a couple of more points here. So lower maintenance or a fewer maintenance issues means, suppose you are trying to access certain softwares, okay, which are suppose think in this way. We have installed certain softwares in our system, means it is not a cloud computing, right? We are installing certain systems and we are working on that one. Suppose the software gets corrupted or software went into an problem, then who is going to solve those particular issues related to the maintenance of those particular softwares? It's ourselves, right? That is a overburden on us. So suppose if we come out of this and if we go for a cloud computing, software is hosted on the cloud side. If any problem arises with respect to the software, the user no need to worry about that one, because all the maintenance will be done by themselves. That will reduce the maintenance costs of at the user side. That is fewer maintenance issues. I just need to have a proper internet connectivity and a proper computing device to just access those particular services provided by the cloud computing provider. Okay. The next one, lower software cost. How it is advantages, how we can say that lower software cost? The cost of the softwares will be lower or it will be reduced if we make use of a cloud computing architecture. How it is? Anyone? Rajwal, give a try.
So maybe again the same reason, like we are using less hardware entity, like physical component entity. Also.
Mhm.
We are
We are talking about the
doing
software,
everything
no?
on the server. Yes.
Yeah. So this
Sir,
particular point
I
is
think we are
focusing more
storing.
on the software costs. Okay. Now,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Anyone else? Can anyone try? Okay. Now it goes something like this. Now, so to understand this one, we need to little understand. We should have a background knowledge.
Suppose
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes. Someone was trying to speak. Please go ahead. Okay. Now, the background knowledge for this.
suppose we want to use a software, then we don't have to download it in our PC. We can use the softwares which are already there in a cloud.
Okay. Yeah. So what you mean to say is that the softwares, we no need to download it. We no need to pay for downloading the softwares, and we can use it from the cloud. But here, when we are using it from the cloud, that particular software, we need to pay to the service provider. There also we need to pay, but that payment, it is little lesser here. It is little lower. How it is lower? Understand this concept here. Now, as you pointed out, any legal software if we want to use, right, like a traditional softwares which are not of a free of a cost, right? So those particular softwares, we need to pay certain amount of money in order to legally use those things. Now, the traditional architecture, suppose if we download it, right? Now, most of the softwares, the high-end softwares related to the computing stuffs and all, they will come for a say 1 year validity. If I pay certain, say 2,000 rupees or 3,000 rupees, okay, then that 3,000 rupees is for a 1 year access. I can have access to that particular software for a year. Okay, now my requirement is I don't need to use for 1 year. Hardly I have access for a month. I just need that particular software legally. I want to use it for a one particular month, for a month. And if I go for a traditional technique wherein I will purchase the software and then install on my particular PC, then the problem will be what? I will be paying lot more amount to the service provider. I just need a month, but I'm paying for a 12 months of uh, rent. Now, there is an advantage if I go with the cloud computing architecture. So in the cloud computing architecture, how it works is that we can demand, like the service provider will allow us to access those softwares for the period of time how much we need it. Suppose if I say I'm going to use it for a month, then he's absolutely okay with that. So for a month, he will say you need to pay certain 200 or 300 rupees. Then for me, I'm going to save a lot of money by accessing the cloud architecture here. If I went with the traditional architecture, I could have spent a lot of money, but with the cloud architecture, I'm using the same software legally for the amount of time, how much ever I require, and that reduces the cost of accessing those particular software. This way, the cloud will provide the advantages or benefit to the end user. Is this point understood? The lower software cost? Then the next one. Instant software update. So what we mean by this one, instant software update? Software update means now, suppose if there is a software, try to see, I'm just trying to explain all these things with respect to the traditional architecture and the cloud architecture. Right? Now, instant software update or a software update means now, suppose if I'm using a traditional architecture and I have a legal software with me, I have purchased a legal software and I'm using it. Now, we know that the software gets updated with respect to its features or functionalities or with respect to its securities, right? So we, as a normal workflow, we need to keep on updating our software to avoid it from the malfunctioning or to avoid the virus attacks on the softwares. Now, if I have an traditional architecture where I have downloaded the software, and suppose assume that the software size is of a 1 GB, the software size is 1 GB, and at a particular time there is an update for that particular software, then what I need to do in order to get it update, I need to download again the latest software. So I need to pay for that 1 GB of data personally as an additional cost. Then once it is downloaded, then install it. Suppose if there is a problem at the time of installation, it will go into a maintenance. Then again, I have to solve myself, right? Isn't it an extra burden on a for a particular end user? This problem can be solved if someone makes use of a cloud computing. Then how it works? If there is a software update, since the software is being handled by the cloud service provider, they will take care of updating the software over the night. So there could be time of a few times, say 1 hour or 2 hour of time every day, where the maintenance of the software can be done. During that time, they will be updating their software if there is a update. Okay, and whatever issues if arises, they will handle it out, the issues. But the next working hour or next working day, the end user will be getting a latest software itself. So this way, the cloud computing gives an advantage over the traditional architecture. The seventh point, increased computing power. This point is also covered as part of the first point, if I remember it right. Increased computing power means we can increase the capacity of the computer, okay, and we can perform much faster. We can perform the computations much faster in the cloud. Unlimited storage capacity, right? A self-explanatory point, right? Unlimited storage capacity. As and when, if we think that we require a more storage capacity to store the data, we no need to physically store it. We can just demand from the cloud computing service provider, and we need to pay extra amount for that, and the setup will be ready at the cloud side. We can just go ahead and then use the storage. Increased data safety. Increased data safety means, how can we say? Since the data is stored in the cloud side, right? I am not storing any data on my particular computer. If something virus infection is happening on my computer also, even though since I don't have the data, everything is at the cloud, none of the data is getting harmed by the virus activities or any type of a malfunction which is happening on my particular system. So in this way, the data is safe in cloud. Improved compatibility between operating system. This is some important point. Some can anyone give an attempt in explaining or in understanding this particular point? Improved compatibility between operating systems. Can anyone try? Compatibility means what with respect to the different operating systems? Now, think of.
Sir, I think when there are two operating systems like Mac and Windows, but when sharing files between them was a nuisance because they could be in different format or different. They could be uploaded or downloaded from different version of applications. But since we are storing them in cloud, it gets stored in a single format and can be accessed from any operating system.
Okay, so that is something, this point. what you explained is improved document format compatibility. Okay, that explanation exactly suits to this particular point. Very good attempt. Okay, but here improved compatibility between operating system. So here a simple example I will take. Say you are having a Windows system with you, say 32-bit operating system. Okay, now we know that a software, especially with respect to the Windows operating system, as Windows comes in two different architectures, 32 and 64. Now answer me, is it possible, suppose if there is an software, is it possible for us to install a 32-bit software on a 64-bit operating system? A particular software of a 32-bit architecture, is it possible me to install on a 64-bit operating system? Does it allow?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, it will not allow. Okay, now assume that I am using a system, operating system of a Windows of a 32-bit architecture, and all of a sudden something happened to my system and my system operating got crashed, and the software related to that what I had was related to 32 itself. Okay, and now all of a sudden I want to move it on to a 64 architecture operating system. Then again what I need to do, I need to have a corresponding softwares of a 64-bit, right? So there is a lot of problems if I go with a traditional architecture. Now think of an cloud computing. The software is there on the cloud. Okay, if whatever the 32-bit or a 64-bit I am using, but still I get the same document, or the I can access to the same software which is hosted on the computer. Whatever might be the problem which arise at my side related to the operating systems, I will definitely not face any problem in accessing those particular softwares or those particular documents. So there is a lot of improvement with respect to the compatibility of the operating systems which an user uses here. Okay, the point number 10 and point number 11 are kind of interconnected. So point number 11, it covers the format, the document format compatibility, as just Aniket explained it. Right, we no need to worry about the what type of system or what type of operating system we are using. It could be a Windows or it could be a Macintosh, but the software which is available on the cloud will provide access to both of these different formatted documents.